What's going on, my collectibles friends? Apologies, I am way behind on videos for the second channel, the Collectibles Dad channel. My main channel, Sports Card Dad, takes up a lot of time, and I've got so much I want to do on this channel. But we are going to talk today. It's going to be our monthly, bi-monthly reminder that when it comes to graded comic books, we have got a long way to go when it comes to price points. I think that we're going to see some really heavy downstream effects on prices. The overall reason behind all of this might surprise you. Stick around. Welcome back to another video. If you're new here, you like what you hear, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, share it with a friend.
School's closed. It's a holiday, you dumbasses. Whoa.
Appreciate you coming by to listen to me ramble on about a topic that I just don't think really ever gets talked about. I just don't hear it get talked about at all very much in the comic book collecting world. Collecting / speculating / investing. Investing in quotation marks. We had a $6 million comic book sell not that long ago, so there are some folks at the very high end that are truly investing because the opportunity cost for a $6 million book is absolutely no joke. But for the rest of us out here, yeah, we're buying that Silver Age key. We're buying the Bronze Age, Copper Age key book that we really like. But the one thing, man, when I'm on Instagram, the one thing that I notice a lot is that there is a ton of key books that are not graded. Again, I think that we are really in the infancy, in the beginning stages of what will be a lot of heavy speculation on these books that's going to move into the future. I think that if we look 10, 15, 20 years down the road, there are going to be a lot more participants that are playing in this game, and they will be buying these key books that we keep seeing on the top 10 lists, and also just ones that are just typical that you hear about in the hobby on YouTube and IG Reels. You know, it's all about Hulk 181, it's Iron Man 1, it's New Mutants 98, it's Wolverine #1. But the thing is that these are not rare books. The only thing that makes these valuable, or the change in value, is condition scarcity. Is it a 9.8? Or is it a 7.0? Or is it a 4.0? And that's what tells you really what it's worth. So with that really being the only differentiator outside of maybe an autograph or something, a yellow label, I mean, that makes it very simple. It's pretty clean as far as what supply looks like. Now, I know if you're comparing some of the Silver Age, Golden Age stuff, you can look, and not every 7.5 is the same. There might be off-white white pages or white pages. There's little differentiators, but for the most part, you have a fairly good idea what a book is going for. But again, I think that as we move forward, we've seen it in trading cards, we see it in all sorts of different collectibles, Funko Pops, action figures. There is a rise in demand for graded collectibles. And even if it's not for value, it's for display or it's for preservation. And also, I think really, if people are being honest, it is about value and long-term type value. If you're somebody that has something that could be valuable laying around, you don't have it really protected, it's like, hey, may as well grade it and encapsulate it. And I know you can also just encapsulate without, put it in an acrylic case without necessarily grading it. But by the time you actually spend the money on the acrylic case, you may as well just send it off and got it graded. And then that way, in the future, if there's any value for it, then there's value there. Good value out of that collectible down the road. But I just keep seeing it. It's not slowing down at all. These census reports are going to continue to rise. But I'm going to make a prediction here. I think that over the next 2, 3, maybe as far out as 5 years, you are going to see a ton of grading for a lot of these key books. You'll see the census reports be a lot higher than they are now, in my opinion, for a lot of these very key books, absent of Golden Age. I think Golden Age is an interesting space where I don't think that there's going to be a dramatic increase, because I actually do think that there are quite a bit fewer copies that survive from the late 30s, 40s, and so forth. Golden Age is interesting. But Silver Age, Bronze Age, the newer stuff, I mean, forget about it. It's just going to be a horde of grading over the next 2, 3, 5 years. And that actually could be the time. that could be the time where it's like we can take a look at it and we can see, you know what, Iron Man #1, they're not grading as many of those now. Now the census is triple what it was a few years ago if we're going like for in the future looking back, but at least now we're starting to get an idea of actual kind of supply here, graded supply. We're starting to see fewer and fewer trickle in. So maybe we are getting to a point for Iron Man 1 or Hulk 181 or Giant Size X-Men 1 where we're starting to get to the end-ish of the supply. And granted, there's going to be collections that are found in 5 years, but people are hunting and looking for this stuff now. This is a very popular little niche world of collectibles where people are not dumb anymore, and when they see old comic books, they're getting them graded or they're sending them off to auction. They are doing something about it. And there was far less attention around it. Look at a guy like Fantastic Comics. That guy, the supply that has come out of that collection, I believe it was his dad's collection, The Selling Superman, we're talking about massive swings in supply just from his collection that he's grading up and that he is selling. It's huge, and not for every book, not for every key book, but for a lot of key books, he has a lot of copies. You know, you might have a key book where there's 2,000 copies of that book that have been graded so far, and there might be another 50 or so that are coming from Fantastic Comics, or a collection like that, you know, similarly, that are just now kind of getting graded, that have been found. Now, that's definitely like a huge treasure trove, but small-ish kind of in comparison type collections that are being found all the time. All the YouTubers out there hunting, they're buying collections. They're all out there. The hunter, the comic book hunter, I can't remember the YouTube name. But anyway, everybody's out there looking for collections, buying up collections, grading them up, maybe keeping some and then selling them off. So the supply continues to rise. Will the demand rise with that supply over time? Many would say, yeah, oh yeah, you know, that supply is going to go up, but we're bringing in more collectors, more people are getting into the comic book speculation space, but maybe not. And that's the part that we've got to figure out. But I think the real buying time, I think the real deals are going to start coming in the next 2, 3, 5 years, because I do think that we're going to do a lot of grading on a lot of this key stuff, but I do think that we're going to get to a point where we've got, okay, they're not seeing as many over here, and we can actually get an idea of what is what. So no matter what anybody on the internet tells you,
we got a 1987 Fleer factory set.
You don't have to buy any particular book, maybe outside of rare golden age type stuff, but the silver age, all the stuff you always see, again, on the top 10s, that bronze age, all that stuff, it will be there for you. It will be there for you. There will be more graded copies of it. If it's something that you want to hold, collect, you want to just obtain that thing, you want to have it, then absolutely. But I still think we got a long way to go. I think that downward pressure on prices in the short run, and when I say short run, I'm talking 0 now to 5 years. But I think that once we get past that, then we've got, okay, now we know what's what. Now we know that there's probably not going to be, you know, many more 9.0s for this particular book. Throw it out there, whatever it is, Hulk 181, because they've found most of the good-looking copies of the book. I think we're going to get to a point. So it's kind of the short term where prices are going to continue to kind of hover around, maybe go up a little bit, down a little bit. Then I do think there's going to be a point in time in a few years where there's going to be a dip, and it's simply because supply has risen and demand is just not there to meet it. And it might be a short-term dip. It might be a 1-year period of time where there's just, you know, demand goes down, people lose a little bit of interest, but there's that many more graded copies out there, price points move downward, but I think it could move back up, just depending on kind of different market conditions, people getting back in and that sort of thing. We don't know what that graded supply is going to look like, and we still have a lot of people that don't want to grade comic books. And eventually, like I said in previous videos, whether they grade it or the person that ends up buying their collection at some point down the road, they're going to grade it. That supply will be there. These books will be in slabs eventually. These key books, let me make that clear. Not every comic book, but key books, they're all going to be graded at some point. All right, my friends, that's all I've got. Stay healthy, stay awesome, and I will talk to you again later.